the rains pounding the earth like artillery fire, turning the cemetery into a slick battlefield of mud and memories. I'm standing there in my dress blues, the fabric clinging to my skin like a second shadow, my boots planted firm because that's what you do when the world's trying to bury you alive. It's my father's funeral. The man who taught me to march before I could run. The colonel who stared down enemies and expectations with the same unyielding glare. And there, at the front of the crowd, my brother, the golden son, the one who got the parades while I got the pity. He turns, spots me late to the service, and lets out a laugh that cuts sharper than any bayonet. Look who finally showed up. He sneers, loud enough for the whole assembly to hear. Captain Isabella? More like Captain Invisible. Bet you were too busy playing soldier to say goodbye to the old man. The mourners shift, whispers rippling like wind through the pines. My aunt clutches her rosary, eyes darting away. The chaplain clears his throat, but no one calls him out. Me. I don't flinch. I've flown Black Hawks through enemy fire, pulled wounded brothers from the jaws of hell in the Hindu Kush. A brother's barb? That's just noise. But what he doesn't know, what no one knows, is the weight in my pocket. A sealed envelope, heavier than a full ammo clip, with my name scrawled in my father's trembling hand. Inside, not just words. A mission. His last one. And it's about to turn this grave into ground zero for the truth I've been fighting for my whole damn life. I'm Captain Isabella Reyes, and this is the story of how one sneer at a funeral unearthed a legacy of lies, loyalty, and the kind of redemption that hits harder than a .50 cal buckle up. Because if you've ever felt invisible in your own family, or wondered if your sacrifices ever truly land, this one's for you. Hit that subscribe, drop a like if you've got a sibling who'd sell you out for a spotlight, and let's dive in. Because in the army, we don't break. We rebuild. From the ashes. Let me take you back, because you can't understand that rainy afternoon without knowing the war I was born into. Not the one overseas, but the one under our roof. My name's Isabella Reyes, but back home in that crisp Texas suburb, I was just Izzy. The quiet one, the girl who fixed the lawnmower engine at 12 while my brother Marcus posed for family photos with his Little League trophy. Dad, Colonel Rafael Reyes, was Army through and through. 28 years, from Desert Storm to the Surge, medals pinned to his chest like stars in a night sky. He built our house like a forward operating base. Straight lines, no nonsense, breakfast at 6 o'clock sharp. Mom. She was the glue, soft-spoken Maria, who baked empanadas that could melt the coldest CO's heart. But in our world, rank was everything. And Marcus? He wore it like a crown. From the cradle, Marcus was Dad's mirror. Tall, broad-shouldered, with that easy grin that disarmed drill sergeants and dates alike. He'd strut into the kitchen after football practice, helmet under one arm, recounting every tackle like it was a flanking maneuver. Coach said I moved like a tank, Dad. And Dad? He'd clap him on the back, eyes shining. That's my boy. Rhea's blood runs hot, you charge, son. You charge. Me. I was the shadow. The one who tagged along to air shows, eyes glued to the Apaches slicing the sky, rotors thumping like my heartbeat. At 8, I begged for flight sim lessons. Dad chuckled, ruffling my hair. Aviation's no place for little ladies, Izzy. Stick to maps. You'll navigate us home. But I saw it in his eyes. Doubt. Not in me exactly, but in the idea that his daughter could outfly his son. School was my first foxhole. While Marcus coasted on charm, B's in history, A's in PE, I buried myself in books. Advanced placement everything, ROTC on weekends, dissecting engines in shop class while the boys catcalled. Reyes thinks she's Rambo in pigtails. Marcus would laugh, but it stung. Dad noticed, sure. At dinner, he'd nod at my report card. Straight A's again? That's expected. Isabella. Reyes don't settle. Expected. Like breathing. No parade, no plaque on the wall like Marcus got for his quarterback MVP. I swallowed it, because that's what soldiers do. But inside, it was a slow burn, like jet fuel igniting in my veins. High school blurred into enlistment faster than a Humvee convoy. Marcus enlisted too. Big ceremony. Dad toasting with imported tequila. To my son, carrying the flag forward. I slipped my papers under the door the next day. Army Aviation, Warrant Officer track. No fanfare. Just a curt, good choice, from Dad over coffee. Mom hugged me tight, whispering, Vuela alto, mija. Fly high. And fly I did. Basic at Fort Rucker was hellfire, push-ups in the red Alabama clay. Instructors barking like jackals. Reyes, you think this bird's gonna lift itself? But I thrived. Night flights in the Kiowa, hugging treetops in zero viz. My hands steady on the cyclic like they were born there. Graduated top of my class. Wings pinned gleaming. I mailed Dad the photo. Me in flight suit, salute crisp, chopper gleaming behind. His reply? A postcard from his latest posting. Proud. Keep sharp. Proud. One word. Marcus got a weekend pass home. Dad grilling steaks. Stories of his artillery training. Fired a howitzer today. Dad, boom like thunder. I was stateside then, pulling night shifts on medevac rotations. My first real taste of Valor came in a dust-choked valley outside Mosul. Intel said clear skies, but monsoon season doesn't care about briefs. We lifted off at dusk, Black Hawk groaning under the load me on controls, co-pilot sweating the gauges. Captain Reyes, wind shear at 3 o'clock. My gunner yelled. I banked hard, rotors clawing air, spotting the convoy below, our boys pinned by RPGs. Humvee smoking. Eagle 1, this is Reaper 6. We're taking fire. Ground chatter crackled. I dove, doors guns blazing suppressive, hovering low enough to feel the heat wash from explosions. Pulled 3 wounded, a sergeant with shrapnel carving his thigh like a map, a private clutching his buddy's dog tags. Hang on, soldier. Mama Reyes is getting you home. We skimmed dunes, evading SAMs, touched down at the MASH unit with minutes to spare. Medals? A quick well done, in debrief. Home. Radio silence. That's how it went. Marcus rotated through easy gigs, logistics in Kuwait, desk pushes in Qatar. Man Dad, the chow here's gourmet, he'd boast on calls. I'd be mid-deployment, voice crackling from a sat phone in the Hindu Kush. Just wrapped a dust-off, Dad. Saved a platoon from an avalanche. His response? Stay frosty. Izzy. Marcus is up for promotion. Frosty. Like I was the side dish. But in the cockpit, I was queen. Let me tell you about the Blizzard Run, Alaska training op gone sideways, 2012. Whiteout conditions, visibility nil. A recon team stranded on Denali's flank. Brass grounded everyone. Too risky, Reyes. But I volunteered. Strapped in with my crew. Sergeant Hale, the grizzled vet with jokes sharper than his aim, and Specialist Torres, fresh-faced but steady. Captain, this is suicide. Hale grumbled, but his eyes said trust. We punched through, instruments only. Ice crystals pinging the canopy like tracers. Found them at 4,000 feet. 5 souls, frostbitten, huddled against the gale. Hoisted them one by one, rotors fighting downdrafts like a demon. Touched down at base, they carried me on their shoulders. Bronze Star came later, pinned quiet in a hangar. Dad. A voicemail. Heard about Alaska. Solid work. Solid. Like concrete. Family holidays were minefields. Thanksgiving 15, Marcus home on leave, regaling with tales of his command post heroics. Aunt Lucia, Mom's sister, all warmth and worry, cornered me in the kitchen. Isabella, Mija, when are you settling? A man. Kids. I smiled, stirring gravy. Auntie, my cruise family enough. Dad overheard. Chuckled. She's married to the sky. Let her be. But his eyes lingered on Marcus's ring, Engagement announcement. Champagne popped. Mine. Buried in briefings. Christmas that year, I shipped a custom knife from Kabul. Engraved Reyes Valor for Dad. His gift back? Sucks. Practical. Marcus got a vintage lighter. Stories of Grandpa's World War II runs. The coals grew sparse. I'd ring from FOBs. Static hissing like accusations. Dad, just led a night insert. 0 casualties. Good, Izzy. Marcus, just closed a big supply deal. Defense contracting suits him. Suits. While I dodged bullets. Mom mediated, her voice a lifeline. He's proud, Isabella. He just shows it different. Different. Like night and day. But I stopped chasing shadows. Focused on the wins. The flood evac in Louisiana, airlifting 200 souls from rooftops, waters lapping like enemy waves. The wildfire drop in Cali, seeding retardant over infernos that swallowed towns. My logbook swelled, 2,000 hours, distinguished flying cross for a hot LZ extraction under fire. Crews called me Ghost, because I appeared from nowhere, saved your ass, vanished into the clouds. Then, the call that cracked the horizon. February 2023. I was wheels up over the Gulf, running sims for a joint op, when my sat phone buzzed. Mom, voice shattering like glass. Isabella. Your father. Heart attack. In his office. He's gone. The world tilted. I banked hard, autopilot fighting me, tears blurring the HUD. Mom, I'm coming. Ground all birds. Weather had other plans. Nor'easter slamming the East Coast, flights scrubbed. I pulled strings, hitched AC-130 hop to Andrews, then commercial to Philly. 20 hours of torment, staring at seatbacks, replaying every unsaid word. Dad, I flew the mission you dreamed. Too late. Landed in a blizzard, cab skidding to the funeral home. Too late for the viewing, but in time for the service. Slipped in back row silent, uniform starched, beret tucked. Marcus up front, suit sharp, shaking hands like a politician. Thanks for coming, Uncle. Dad would have loved this. Lies. Dad hated suits. The chaplain droned psalms, rain drumming the roof like impatient fingers. Then Marcus, spotting me in the shadows, stands, mic in hand for the eulogy. Family meant everything to Rafael Reyes. He raised us to lead, to charge. And me? I was his right hand. Pause, eyes scanning, landing on me. Grin twists. Wish I could say the same for my sister. Captain Isabella. If that's what she calls herself these days. Flew in late, huh? Probably too busy with her little helicopter games to hold his hand at the end. Dad deserved better than a no-show. Laughter ripples. Nervous. Cruel. Aunt Lucia gasps. Cousins avert eyes. The weight in my pocket burns. I step forward, heels echoing like boot steps in a silent squad bay. Chaplain pauses. Nods. Before we close, Colonel Reyes left a final directive. To be delivered here, by one soul alone. Eyes widen. Captain Isabella Reyes. Whispers. She's Army. Captain. Marcus blanches. Smile cracking. The chaplain approaches, envelope in hand, thick vellum, wax seal stamped with Dad's ring. Eagle, globe, anchor adapted for Army wings. Your father said. For Izzy. Her mission. Finish it. I take it, fingers brushing the casket's flag. Lean in, whisper. Reporting for duty, Colonel. Permission to execute. The drive to the hotel was a blur. Wipers slapping, heart hammering. Room 312, sterile as a aid station. I sit on the bed, envelope like a grenade. Break the seal. Out spills a flash drive, yellowed letter, photo. Me at 10, Fort Bliss Air Show. Tiny hand on an OH-58 Kiowa's nose. Back. Izzy eyes on the prize. Steady. Letter unfolds, Dad's script shaky but sure. Dearest Isabella, if this finds you, I'm dirtside, watching from the clouds you conquered. First off, I love you. More than words, more than the silence I wrapped us in. You were always the steady one, not loud like Marcus, but unbreakable. I saw it young, that spark when jets roared. I dimmed it, fool that I was. Thought boys led, girls supported. Wrong. Dead wrong. You flew anyway. Bronze Star, Flying Cross. Hell, you outraised me. But this? This is why I'm writing. 25 years back, 98. Gulf cleanup off books recon. Faulty recon from my own intel shop. Sent Captain Elias Grant. Good man like you, into a trap. Sam Nest we missed. His bird went down. Black box pinned on pilot error. I knew better. Buried it to shield the unit. Ate me alive. Izzy. Gathered proof over decades. Logs, witness statements, redacted briefs. Never submitted. Cowardice. You're the one, not Marcus. He's flash. You're fire. Steady in storms. Finish it. Clear Elias's name. Tell his kin. Make it right. My last order, Captain. Salute received. Love eternal. Raphael P.S. That photo? You were born for this. Tears hit the page. Ink bleeding. Flash drive clicks into my laptop. Folders bloom. Encrypted PDFs. Audio clips. Memos stamped top secret // no foreign. Grant's flight log. Cleared hot per CO Reyes. Intel report. Gaps glaring. A tape, Dad's voice gravelly. Elias didn't air. I did. For the record. Hours dissolve. I pace, piecing the puzzle. Why me? Because I endured the slights. Flew through the doubts. Valor isn't volume. It's velocity. Straight and true. Dawn breaks gray. I drive to the family home. Dad's old colonial. Flags at half-mast. Marcus holds court in the den. Relatives milling with coffee and condolences. Marcus, such a rock, Uncle Tomas says. I enter, envelope under arm. Morning all. Eyes turn, pity, curiosity. Marcus smirks. Sis. Envelope from the great beyond? Dad's recipe for brisket. Laughter, forced. I lay it on the dining table, amid Dad's shadow box. Purple heart, silver star. Aunt Lucy appears. KESSO Isabella? His unfinished business, I say. A mission. For me. Marcus snorts, leaning in. Mission? Come on, you're dramatizing. Dad left you busy work. 'Cause you were the organized one. I flip the drive. Screen glows. Organized enough to see the truth. 1998. Operation Desert Echo. Dad's command. Faulty intel sent Captain Elias Grant to his death. Blamed on error. But here's the proof. Orders, testimonies, Dad's own confession. Gasps ripple. Uncle Tomas whistles. Raphael. New? Marcus waves it off. Ancient history. You're stirring ghosts for what? A pat on the back. His voice rises unfinished. Just a dead pilot is. Let it. Let it what, Marcus? Like you've let yours. I stand tall. Uniforma armor. Dad chose me because I don't quit. Not on missions, not on family. Elias Grant had a wife, kids. They deserve the flag unfolded right. The room stills. Aunt Lucia crosses herself. Isabella. You finish this. For him. For all of us. I didn't wait for consensus. Next stop. Colonel Harlan Voss, retired, Dad's old XO. Found him in a Virginia cabin, fly fishing the Shenandoah. Reyes's girl? By God. Over bourbon, files spread like a op plan. This reopens wounds, Captain. Brass'll squirm. Then let him, I said. Elias flew true. 48 hours of calls, verifications, JAG contacts, declassified scraps. Green light. Case viable. Heart pounding. I booked a red-eye to Tulsa. Elias's widow, Clara Grant, now 68, silver hair, eyes like faded runway lights, met me at a diner off Route 66. Captain Reyes? Raphael's daughter. Tremble in her voice. We sat in a booth, hash browns cooling. I slid the dossier across. Mrs. Grant. Elias didn't panic. Intel failed. Your husband followed orders. Bad ones. Dad buried it. I'm unburying. Her hands shook. Flipping pages. Audio played. Dad's voice. Elias was gold. I failed him. Tears traced her wrinkles. All these years. We thought he cracked under fire. Buried him with that shame. She pulled a locket. Elias in flight gear. Young. Grinning. Why you, Isabella? Why now? I met her gaze. Because in the army, we don't leave men behind. Not on the field. Not in memory. Dad's last salute. To him through me. She wept then quiet, the kind that carves canyons. Hugged me like a lost wingman. Tell Raphael. Thank you. And you, Captain. You're his best flight. Back on the tarmac, I called Marcus. It's done. Exoneration pending. Clara knows. Silence then. Dad really trusted you with that? More than words, bro. More than sneers. Click. Weeks blurred into after action. Pentagon briefings, sterile rooms, suits sharper than scrutiny. Captain Reyes, this implicates truth, I countered. Grant's record clears next month. Brass nodded. Reluctant. Home, the house felt lighter. Mom's empanadas steaming. Aunt Lucia praying novenas. Marcus showed up unannounced, box in hand. Truce. Inside. A leather-bound album. Pages chronicled me. Grainy prints from deployments, newspaper clips of the blizzard run, a faded ROTC photo Dad annotated, my steady star. Tucked in back his note. Izzy, watched you soar while I grounded myself. Proud doesn't cover it. Forgive the old fool. Love, Dad. Official word hit April. Elias Grant. Posthumous exoneration. Quiet ceremony at Arlington Annex. No crowds, just Clara, Harlan, a folded flag. I placed Dad's aviator wings beside Elias's plaque. Saluted crisp. Mission complete, Colonel. Wind whispered through the stones, like rotors fading. Marcus and I? Not fixed overnight. But Thanksgiving shifted, him asking about my latest bird, me toasting his contracts. You flew the real missions, Mom beams. And me? Back in the seat. Skies endless. That envelope? Framed beside my wings and Dad's. Equal. Because valor isn't inherited. It's earned, in silence, in storms, in the sneer you turn to strength.